Shocking shots at the Lakers. Dwight Howard and Phil Handy expose Rob Pelinka. Hey guys, this is Guilherme, and today's video is going to be a blast. Dwight Howard and Phil Handy just dropped bombshells about Rob Pelinka that will change everything you thought you knew about the Lakers backstage. The revelations are so shocking that you won't believe it. Stay with me, because what I'm going to tell you now will shake the team to its foundations. And let's get to today's news, but first just make sure you're already subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will be a series of content that will help you stay informed about everything related to the Lakers. Turn on the notification bell and select the all option. After that, we'll send you everything breaking that comes out from the Lakers backstage. Lakers fans, we have a goal of 100 likes to hit this video. In the last video, we hit the goal in less than an hour. Prove that you're Lakers fans and leave a like so we can hit this goal soon. Welcome back. Today we have an interesting and somewhat controversial topic to discuss. Dwight Howard recently appeared on a podcast where he shared his thoughts on the 2019-20 Lakers team and what could have been if the team had stayed together. He took some shots at Rob Pelinka, suggesting that the executive may have been responsible for undoing what could have been a dynasty. Howard mentioned that if Pelinka had kept that group of players, the Lakers would have won at least 2 championships and could have competed for a third. This comment reignited the debate among fans, especially since the collective memory of that period tends to vary. Many remember that team as one of the best the Lakers have ever had, but the behind-the-scenes reality and the decisions that had to be made at that time are a bit more complex. Let's explore that. Howard's quote stating that Pelinka kind of messed up the dynasty that we were starting generated a lot of buzz. It brings up the age-old question. What could the Lakers have accomplished if they had kept their roster intact? It's easy to look back and imagine continued success, but things weren't quite so simple. At the time, Pelinka was dealing with a number of constraints, including the salary cap and the need to keep the team competitive in an unpredictable environment. While the decision to not keep every player from the championship team was controversial, it's important to remember that professional sports are full of variables, and tough decisions often have to be made. Ultimately, it's understandable that Howard and many fans feel like something great was lost. However, it's also fair to acknowledge the challenges Pelinka faced in trying to balance the present with the future of the franchise. Injuries, player attrition, and the pressure to keep winning all complicate the "if only they had kept the team together" narrative. These reflections show how a team's history can be interpreted in different ways depending on your perspective. The important thing to understand is that while Howard looks back on that period with some bitterness, Pelinka was making decisions based on what he believed was best for the team in the long run. So as we discuss these issues, it's interesting to note how memories and perceptions can change over time. I hope this analysis sheds some light on the subject, and as always, I'm curious to hear what you think. Leave your comments, and let's keep this conversation going. Let's go back in time a bit and revisit the 2019-2020 Lakers season. Back then, the team featured some players who weren't exactly at the top of the fan list, especially during the NBA bubble. Danny Green, for example, was the target of a lot of criticism for his shooting. It got so bad that he even received death threats, which is incredibly unfortunate. Fans were frustrated and didn't want to see him back the following season. Eventually, Green was traded for Dennis Schroeder, who in turn was also involved in a controversy when he turned down an $84 million contract offer, only to accept a $5 million contract later that summer. Another name that didn't generate much anticipation among fans was Quinn Cook. He wasn't a player that generated much excitement or concern regarding his return. Rajon Rondo, despite his importance to the team, couldn't be kept because he received a more attractive financial offer than the Lakers could offer at the time. If I remember correctly, he signed a 2- or 3-year contract with the Atlanta Hawks worth between $15 and $24 million. Kyle Kuzma was also a player that divided opinions. Many fans were eager to see him traded, but the Lakers opted to keep him, which in retrospect I believe was the right decision at the time. Still, there's no denying that there was significant clamor for his departure. These examples show how complex team dynamics can be, and how decisions about who stays and who goes are often met with mixed opinions. The 2019-20 season was an emotional roller coaster for Lakers fans, and the roster decisions that followed were marked by much discussion and, of course, controversy. Let's talk a little about the Lakers' post-2019-20 season moves that generated much discussion among fans. Markieff Morris and Jared Dudley were brought back, although there was some division of opinion. Many felt that Dudley should have taken an assistant coaching role by then, rather than continuing as a player. And then there was the case of Dwight Howard, who left the team amid a series of misunderstandings. He was offered a contract by the Lakers, but the situation eventually got complicated, and Howard ended up signing a minimum contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. Interestingly, he returned to the team a year later, but was already dealing with several injuries, which, in my opinion, caused some people to misinterpret his departure. Another point that deserves to be highlighted was the retention of Talen Horton-Tucker. At the time, many believed that he had enormous potential, which generated controversy, as this expectation did not come to fruition. J.R. Smith was also part of that roster. But, already close to retirement, his presence did not cause much concern among fans. In addition, two-way contracts such as those of Kostas Antetokounmpo and Devontae Kakok went practically unnoticed, without much impact on the team's narrative. On the other hand, Alex Caruso, a fan favorite, was retained, and his permanence was something that everyone wanted. However, his departure the following season ended up being a significant problem for the 2020-2021 team. As for LeBron James, he obviously remained the team's mainstay, but the departure of JaVale McGee, who was traded for financial reasons, was a move that brought in Marc Gasol as a replacement. While Gasol's signing was initially well received, many people today seem to have a distorted memory of his actual impact on the team. These are the main points that Dwight Howard raised that deserve to be discussed. I hope this analysis helps shed some light on what really happened with the Lakers during this period, and that we can better understand the intricacies of the decisions that were made. I always thought he was a very good player. He may not have had the intimidating presence in the paint like Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee, who were popular with fans, but he played a crucial role as a playmaker. Additionally, his ability as a floor spacer allowed him to fit perfectly alongside Anthony Davis and LeBron James in certain formations. The fact that he wasn't taken off the court during the decisive moments of the game also shows that his offensive contribution was valued. Now, regarding the decision to trade JaVale McGee, I don't think it was a huge mistake. The main issue was that McGee's contract became heavier after that season, and the Lakers were struggling to stay within the salary cap. Even so, they managed to keep important players like LeBron and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for the following seasons. Therefore, I believe that the 2020-2021 team wasn't bad, quite the opposite. Furthermore, the additions of Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell were well received at the time. Many fans were excited about these signings, as well as the arrival of Wesley Matthews, who was also seen as a good choice. When I analyzed that roster, I got the impression that it was a very solid team, capable of competing at a high level. Some people today seem to misremember this team and say that it was a huge downgrade from the 2019-20 team, but I disagree. In my opinion, if it weren't for injuries to Anthony Davis and LeBron, they would have held the lead in the West until the end. When AD got hurt, I believe it was mid-December, they were in a very good position, with a great record and a lot of momentum. If Davis hadn't gotten hurt during the first round of the playoffs against the Phoenix Suns, I believe the Lakers could have made it to the finals again, and maybe even won again. Overall, I think they had a very good team across the board that season. I agree that some of the changes the Lakers made may have been unnecessary, which ended up generating a lot of criticism directed at Rob Pelinka. During the offseason, Pelinka was questioned a lot, especially for not making many moves other than drafting Max Christie and Bronny James in the NBA draft. The lack of significant free agent signings was also a point that caused quite a bit of controversy among fans and analysts. This debate about the decisions made after the 2019-2020 season and how the team is remembered today gained even more momentum with the statements made by Dwight Howard. In addition, Phil Handy, who was a key assistant coach and head of player development for the team, also entered the discussion. In an Instagram post, he made a point of stating facts in response to Howard's quote on Gilbert Arenas' podcast. This, of course, only served to increase the controversy. The participation of Handy, someone who was so close to the team for so long and who now points out some criticisms of Pelinka, raises important questions. It is not entirely clear whether Handy was directly referring to the roster changes that Howard mentioned, or if he was simply reinforcing that the team did, in fact, have the potential to repeat the title. This ambiguity in the interpretation of his words adds another layer of complexity to this entire situation. What is clear is that the history of that period is full of nuances, and the memories of everyone involved, whether players, coaches, or fans, are loaded with different emotions and perspectives. What for some may seem like a strategic mistake, for others may be seen as a valid attempt to keep the team competitive. In any case, this discussion shows how decisions in the world of sports, especially in a team as successful as the Lakers, are always subject to constant analysis and revision. In my opinion, the real turning point for the Lakers came with the Russell Westbrook trade during the summer of 2021. By bringing in Westbrook, the team had to give up key players like Kyle Kuzma and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, who were key to the team and had the potential to continue contributing in the future. This move, which even included giving away a first-round draft pick, ended up being a huge strategic mistake. The trade, in fact, ended up destabilizing the team, in my view. In order to acquire Westbrook, the Lakers had to sacrifice a lot of valuable assets, and then, in order to get rid of him, they had to give up even more assets. Although the return package that included D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt helped improve the situation somewhat, the team never regained the same consistency and harmony it had before. Going back to Dwight Howard's observations, I honestly don't think the team itself was the problem. If the Lakers had kept more of the players from their 2019-20 championship roster, I think they could have achieved more success. However, what really hampered the team was the recurring injuries to Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The trade for Westbrook was a risky, almost desperate move that the team was unable to recover from. I don't see Rob Pelinka's decisions at that time as irrational or ill-considered. There may have been some choices that could have been avoided, but overall, the team was still very competitive. I think Dwight Howard may be remembering this period a little distorted, perhaps even due to some personal disappointment in how things turned out. Ultimately, what we're seeing is a somewhat misremembered recollection of events. I hope this analysis has brought a little more clarity to what really happened. It's been great to discuss this topic, especially considering the opinions of Dwight Howard and Phil Handy, which have been much talked about recently. If you enjoyed this type of analysis, we may explore more topics like this in the future. Thanks for following along, and see you next time. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving future content. Access our playlist now that will appear on the screen, or in the pinned comment with all the latest news and updates from the Lakers, and stay up to date with the behind-the-scenes, highlights, last-minute controversies, transfers, everything about the Los Angeles Lakers team. See you in the next video.